Right, welcome back to the channel. New video. This video is going to be on engine bay detailing. Just tidying the engine bay up a little bit because I'm planning to go to a few shows this year, get this thing out and enjoy it, show it off a little bit. But the engine bay was pretty ropey. As a lot of you know, I've done a lot of work underneath, but can't necessarily see that. So yeah, just wanted to get the engine bay looking nice and tidy, looking smart. I had a couple of people comment on the car generally, saying how nice it is, and you know, one person said, "Any chance I can have a look under the bonnet?" And I was like, nah, you're right, because it is pretty filthy, a bit embarrassing really. But it's done. I'm not going to show you yet. I'm not going to peek too soon. I'm going to keep you in suspense a little bit. So what I've been doing is using the parts off of this spare block, and so I've taken the cam covers off and the intake manifold, air intake, sent them off, sandblasted, powder coated, all the rest of it. But I just wanted to point out a few things. If anyone's interested in doing this to their car, this is a few things I've found. So this is the cam cover off of the car. So I've done this one myself. I've tidied it up myself, and this is just brake caliper paint, which I've done a bad job, to be honest. But it's not going to be as robust. It's not going to be as durable as the powder coat. But nonetheless, anyway, it's a damn sight cheaper. Put it that way. So yeah. Yeah, if you are going to be doing this yourself, just be aware these castings are pretty rough, and you know, you can see that from the inside when you look at it from the inside. There's one of the bolts falling out. So that's all right when they're not tidied up, when they're not painted. But as soon as you start painting them, it you know, it highlights the flaws, you know, the rough bits. So yeah, take your time, get the surfaces nice and smooth, rub them back, spend a bit of time at the prep stage rubbing them back, cleaning them up, getting the imperfections and the surfaces sorted out before you start applying paint, and it should be alright. It's not too bad. So yeah, the procedure that I did, I've lost a load of footage, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So the procedure is fairly straightforward. What I did, I basically started taking stuff apart inside the bay. I'll explain that towards the end of the video. It's a bit all over the shop, I know, but is to, you know, what to take apart first, how to go about it, how I went about it anyway. So basically, intake manifold comes off first, and then you can start, well, airbox, intake manifold, and then you can start taking other stuff off. But so yeah, once you've got these cam covers off, you can start taking these seals off. So they sit in a groove, look, all the way around the edge of the cover. It's got like a little lip on it there, which pushes down into there. And then you've got on this, where the bolts go through, you've got those two sort of rubber bits there, look, and they slot behind that part of the bolt, if you see where I'm pointing there. I don't know if I'll be able to do this one-handed, but I'll give it a go. So you've got to push the bolt home, and then you push those little rubber bits underneath that. So they're sat like that, look. See, there's one half in now. So that's all straightforward enough. It's all fairly self-explanatory, logical, all the rest of it. You've got seals for the spark plugs there as well. Right, so the important bits I'm getting to is these areas here. So this is where on the block, the timing chain cover meets the rest of the head, the rest of the engine. So here you go, I'll show you, look, nice and easy. So this area I'm talking about, and this is where they got a bit of a reputation to leak here. So that black bit there, that's actually the sill that forms between the, that's the timing chain cover. You see what I'm talking about? So that there joins, bolts onto this part of the head, and that's the sill. And that's actually not that smooth there. You can feel the end of the rubber is not flush at all. And yeah, they leak there. So what Ford say is you put, and that sits on it, that's the sill, it sits on that area. So Ford say use this L-ring Durco HT 15 degrees C, that's good for, you put a 10mm blob of that on there, and there and there, and then fit that to the engine. You've got to do all that within 6 minutes apparently. That stuff goes off quite quick, so you've got to do all that within about 6 minutes, which is alright, but you've got to be organised, you know, you've got to be ready, you've got to have all your bits ready. In the engine bay, you've got to be aware there's a couple of little things in your way. So there's a power steering hose that gets in the way of the back cover a little bit, which is a bit awkward to negotiate, but I got footage of that, so I'll show you that. I've added a little bit more, a little bit extra. So this is the bottom edge of the cover, so that sits there on the engine. So these surfaces on the engine in the car are a little bit scratched up. Somebody in the past has either changed the gaskets, or they've had them off, they've had the covers off for some. Anyway, they've when they clean these surfaces up, they've scratched these surfaces a little bit, and yeah, it's not the best. It's only a little bit, it's not too bad, but what with this being notorious for leaking anyway, the last thing you want to be doing is, you know, increasing the chances of any leaks. You know, so this is what the video is all about, really. So basically, clean these areas up as best you can all the way round, but as carefully as you can without damaging those surfaces. I use a plastic blade, one of those orange plastic scrapers, and some brake cleaner cloth, microfiber cloth, and just keep going, just keep it comes off eventually, you know, all the sealant and stuff, if anyone's used sealant in the past. So yeah, Ford don't recommend, I don't think, that you actually use sealant around, is just on these places here, it's just on these spots. So they don't mention anything about using it on the rest of the sill, just there and there where it meets the timing chain. A 10mm blob, like I say. I'm going to do it, I have done it in my case, because like I said, these surfaces are a bit scratched. So what I've done is just a tiny smear on top of there. I've just dabbed it like that all the way around on the bottom half anyway, and then with a clean finger I've gone on the inside and taken any excess off. And yeah, I've just gone around and taken excess off, full stop, but particularly inside, so it don't go in the engine, like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's the important bits anyway. I go on about torque settings and stuff, that's fairly straightforward as well. All of it's fairly straightforward. There's nothing really that difficult about this job. It's just a little bit time consuming, and there's a few little pointers. One of the most important things is when you take the intake manifold off, make sure you cover up the intake manifold or the intake ports. So you'll expose the intake ports. There'll be gaskets on there. Take the gaskets off and put tape over the ports just to make sure nothing falls down there. No dirt and shit falls down there, but I cover that later in the video. It is quite important now. Again, like I always say, if you haven't already, get one of those. That's your Bible. It's got all the torque settings in, and procedures, all the rest of it. So yeah, like I said, it's not a difficult job. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any. I don't think there's anything else. That is pretty much it. So this is a nice golden colour, and this is how the engine should look. Mine's been a bit neglected in the past. It's got hot, and it's got a load of this black cooked on oil under here, which isn't that great, but I'm doing plenty of oil flushes, getting rid of it bit by bit, slowly but surely. So yeah, that is actually quite a decent condition looking engine, that. So yeah, I'll be keeping this with a view to fit it one day, possibly. But yeah, for now, I just want to tidy this engine bay up, and yeah, make it look pretty, which I think I have. It's looking really good now. But like I say, I'll let the video. Well, I'll let you see the footage, and yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, so that's the front cam cover on. Happy days. So far so good. I think now I'm going to get all the harnesses back in position. I mean, I've done a lot of it down here. Look, I don't know if you can see, there's a plate there that engine harness clips onto, goes to the ECU. And this is all the injectors, obviously. So what I might do, while I've still got the masking tape on, get all those connected up in place, get it all clipped up in place, and then fit the new HT leads. I got nice new shiny HT leads, and then the intake manifold. But just checking as I go, bit by bit, I haven't forgotten anything. Such as that. Where does that go? Oh, I know where that goes. Right, hopefully most of this just fall into position. So these clip on there. Clips around there. Right, so I think that can go on there. That one's missing, not too worried about that. So that is how it wants to be once the intake manifold goes on. But before I do that, obviously I need to get the HT leads in, the back ones at least. So yeah, let's have a look at those. So there you go, Mr. Retro. This is what all the lads on the ST220 enthusiast group recommend. So I think they're quite reasonable. These are the 8.5mm leads. So I have to suss out which ones go where. So I might bring you back, so I don't want to bore the ass off you. So yeah, I'll bring you back. Right, here we are. I've got the HT leads all routed in. Hopefully that's right. Nice and tidy ish. I've just taken the masking tape off the inlets, and now I'm fitting the gasket, the upper inlet manifold gaskets. I'm going to reuse these. They seem pretty decent, so I don't see why not. Although that doesn't look that clean, it is actually pretty good. So right, there we go, finished article, and I'm quite chuffed with that. Quite chuffed. Didn't take me that long really, 2 to 3 weeks I suppose, on the weekends, evenings. Probably spent about 400 or 500 quid to be fair. Biggest part of that was the sandblasting and powder coating, but that thing there was bloody expensive for what it is. It's the best part of 150 quid, that. Anyway, yeah, if you're going to be, before I finish the video, if you're going to be doing this yourself, there's a couple of things I just want to point out. I think it's worthwhile mentioning again. So before you do anything, I would take the strut bar, the brace bar, out. It's just 8mm bolts, simple enough. Plus these plates here, that one and that one. Get all that out of your way, because you'll need access around the back of the intake manifold, the infamous bolt that serves as the fixing for the back of the intake manifold and for the wiring loom. So there's a metal P-clip on the wiring loom, and that goes onto the studded bolt. It's one of these studded bolts. So yeah, get all that undone, and then you'll be ready to, you know, start proper. So I would say the first thing to do, give yourself a little bit more room, get that airbox out of the way. So quite simple, there's a few pipes here, a few vacuum pipes there, one around the back. Once all those are off, there's a few plugs as well. Undo the plugs, take the plugs off, like this for example, that needs to come out. The servo pipe needs to come out easy enough. You just push down, there's a little plastic collar, so you push down on the plastic collar and pull up at the same time. So yeah, going back to the intake box, the air intake box, I would undo that clip there and take this, I know that's not the original one, but take that and that out all at the same time. That just pulls up, you just lift the box up and the whole thing comes, as long as you've got everything, you know, MAF sensor, obviously you need to unplug that, but that'll give you a bit more room. Once all that's out of the way, that'll give you a bit more room, and you can have a look down inside here and tidy up, clean up as you go. So yeah, once the intake manifold's off and the gaskets, the intake manifold gaskets tape up those ports. I use masking tape, but whatever you do, don't leave them open, because if anything goes down there, you're in trouble. So yeah, tape them up. Make sure no shit, dirt gets down there, and tape them up. So once the manifold's out of the way, that'll give you a lot more room. HT leads can then come off easy enough. Just unplug them, unclip them. Coil pack, that's easy enough. A few bolts. And then you're looking at the cam covers. So again, it's just these bolts there that I showed you earlier. Easy peasy. But yeah, I recommend getting the Hayden's manual as well, because it contains all the torque settings and, you know, correct procedures and stuff. So I'll do that, and then just go around tidying up, cleaning up. You know, I cleaned up all down in here, look there. I tidied up the servo. The servo was looking a bit tired and a bit rusty, so I've rubbed it down, treated it and painted it all down in there. Look, I've just gone around and done the best I can without sort of, you know, without taking the engine completely apart, without stripping it down too much. Brake fluid reservoir bottle I cleaned up. So basically it's just, a lot of it is just the stuff, you know, the top show, just for now. But the other thing, once all this intake manifold, cam covers, anything to do with the engine, you've had sandblasted and powder coated, make sure you clean it out afterwards, just of any medium, you know, any grit and shit obviously. But yeah, just make sure before you start fitting it back to the engine, it's as clean as it can possibly be. I mean, the intake manifold is a little bit difficult. I used a bottle brush. I soaked it and kept soaking it, warm water, left it, rinsed it out, soaked it again. I used cleaning products, car cleaning products that built amber stuff. I left it soaking in that, and like I say, used a bottle brush, just gently, just kind of, you know, kept going, and dried it out obviously. But yeah, what else? Just went round cleaning as much as I could. That engine mount there gets a bit grey, so I cleaned that up, rust treated it, give it a coat of black paint, so that's looking a bit tidier. Like I say, all down in these areas. Yeah, new set of HT leads, cam covers back on, intake back on. So cam covers, once you've got the cam covers off, is a good idea to check the cam caps. I think, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, I think I said it earlier, but those cam cap bolts, they're 8mm bolts, and Haynes manual says they're 10 Newton meters. So just go round. The torque sequence doesn't matter if you're just checking them, as you know, if you're just checking the torque, make sure none of them are loose. The other thing you can do as well is check your spark plugs, replace them if they haven't been replaced for a while. But yeah, 14 Newton meters spark plugs, and once you've done all that, then you can start putting it all back together again. So the cam cover bolts, they're 10 Newton meters, and they have got a sequence, so it's a good idea. So I went on a lot about you know, doing things to ensure you don't get leaks, and you know, I think I don't know how important it is, the torque sequence, but I just, if the manuals are saying that, do it, you know. So basically you start with the 2 middle bolts, and then you go opposite corners. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'll put a picture up of that, or not unless I've already done so. But yeah, they're only 10 Newton meters, those bolts, so it's not tight. It's not tight. And the intake manifold bolts as well. So you've got 4 along the front there. These little 8mm bolts again, and then you've got 1 that side and 1 over that side, around the back. Again, 10 Newton meters, I think, from memory. But yeah, but that's it. That is about as difficult as it gets, really. I think as long as you take your time, just do a bit at a time, don't rush, don't start putting things back together too early, because you'll just end up taking it apart. I mean, that's what I did. I just did it in stages, obviously stripped it all down first. Like I said, get those intake ports covered up, and then you can relax really. Once you've done that, you've got some decent tape. I've used duct tape before in the past, and I think that's probably better because it's a little bit stronger. Once you've got those ports covered up, those 6 ports, you can relax a little bit, and you take your time, clean up, keep cleaning, take a few bits off, clean them up, put them back on, paint them, make them look pretty, and hopefully you'll get results like this. I mean, like I said, it's not perfect, but I'm not bothered for now. That'll do for now. At some point this engine will be coming out, and I'm going to be changing the clutch and all the rest of it, dual mass. So I'm probably going to give it a good engine detail then. But for now, I'm quite happy with this. This will do. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was useful to somebody, and see you in the next one. Cheers.